Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, April 11th, 2024 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I am participating in my personal revolution evolution. And here we are, another interesting astro day. We have Mercury and the Sun today in a conjunction. This is also known as a cazimi. When any planet is conjunct the Sun, it is like in the heart of the Sun, and that is cazimi, which is a fun word to say, right? Sun and Mercury retrograde in Aries can be an interesting transit. There's a lot of layers that we can look at this through. One is through the mental guise. This amplifies Mercury's energy. The sun is shining on it. It's time to shine, and it's in a retrograde. So there could be Mercury mischief up the wazoo, especially because this is 22 degrees, which is that master degree. And so Mercury's like, I'm just seeing how susceptible you are. So watch for that. Watch for those. I guess that's more of the technology layer, not the mental layer. The mental layer could have your mental energy, your thoughts rebounding. That could be cause for the eye twitch on top of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's slowly moving into position. But what came through is more about the work that we've been doing around our I am. And I was just glancing at the cards I pulled and got some interesting cards. But through looking at the cards, especially this one, which I consider to be one of my inner child cards, the song, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, popped into my head. And I think it's about that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, that's me unfettered. That's me like in my full dragon energy, in my full fiery, watery, sassy, whatever that energy is. We're all looking for that allowance. I think it's such an interesting process, this figuring out who you are and being it on purpose energy. When I talk about it, in regards to myself, I still find it very confusing to peel through the layers of people pleasing or whatever it is that have been put on to figure out who I am underneath all of that. And so just know on this master degree day with the Sun and Mercury conjunct, you may get some ahas and you may get even more questions that come from that. And that's okay. This is a rabbit hole of lifetimes to uncover the full expression of you. But I will always bring forth that Rumi verse, you are the soul of the universe, and your name is love. To remind you, that's the you-iest you that we're going through or going for is that energy. But today you may have some ahas and you may have some frustrations, and your mind may be so busy that you don't have time for any of that. Now, on top of this Sun Mercury conjunction in Aries, helping us sort through all the pros and cons of being ourselves, we have the moon. It's literally what the mind will be doing today. If your mind does not do that at some point, then I don't know. But moon into Gemini at 5:58 a.m. Pacific time. So around, 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern. The rest of you get to do the math. So right around that time, we have the moon moving into Gemini. And that is also going to be increasing the blah, 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 blah mental mayhem. That is potential for today. Speaking of mental mayhem, this could also be interesting for the dream state. Before shifting into Gemini, the moon will connect with Neptune. Neptune approaching the final degree of Pisces. So weird stuff there too. You may get a little hit of lazy cat, and then you get a hit of the Gemini, and game over. As I throw my cards. I got them. I threw them. I had them sitting on my mug, my rainbow unicorn mug. So if that's not like the memeiest thing ever. Anyway, we're going to have the moon in Gemini, trine Pluto in Aquarius. Initial conversations could have some power engagement. Now, it's two ways. One is that these conversations you're having are empowering you, and or you notice these conversations you are trying to suck your power, or you're trying to give it away. So notice in those early morning connections what's going on. The Sun and Mercury reaches their peak at 4:03 p.m. Again, watch for the and in Aries is very reactive. You may find the words being very reactive. There may be no stopping it, but always check in with your heart to see if that is connected when speaking. Our last connection of the day is the moon working with Venus newly in Aries. And that's such an impulsive and yet fun connection. Hopefully process the day and have some time for the fun to come out. Let me show you these other cards though. I mean, I got isolation. This is a mind card. This is you alone with your thoughts, making yourself cry, telling your stories that you're making yourself cry. We also have aloneness. It's funny because Gemini energy doesn't really necessarily want to be alone. It loves to have somebody to talk to, and yet we've got these two lonely cards. We'll add this one in, sorrow. Mental energy. It's lonely in your mind. It's lonely in a lot of those stories. Now, where are these coming from? We have the projections card. A lot of these things that you are mulling over, these voices in your head, these are not even your voices. And this is part of remembering who we are so we can get past like becoming our parents or our parents' parents or our parents' parents from these energies, but also these memes, these mental sayings that keep you in that loop. So watch for them today, because this projections is showing like these are not necessarily your thoughts. What I do like is we have change. So there's some change energy in this, and we're called to invite our inner child to support us in and through this work. Check with your id, because that is like the part of you that has basic needs, because that can be where Aries energy goes. And so if we can take care of that part, then maybe we're not so reactive in these energies, and we can listen to the internal you versus the mental meme part. Hey, look at that. Not the meme part, but the meme part. I'm referencing, what's his name? I always forget his name. Ugh, I hate that I forget his name all the time. I only just see his face. But the man who did the honeymoon effect, and he talks about, these things in your head that have been passed down. They're called memes. So that's why I said getting memey with it. But here I am. So, Mercury mischief. I'm going to leave it there. You can book a reading with me. Email me at mimiclark@gmail.com. And his name is Dr. Bruce Lipton. Thank you, Brain, for cooperating. He's the one who talks about that. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. And remember who you are, for you are the solution. Namaste.